So while everyone's jumping on, and we got about 10 minutes before we begin the full-on topic of booking more clients, which is one of my favorite topics of all time. It's one of the things that I am really passionate about because I love coaching photographers how to essentially catapult their career and be able to book more clients, make more money, and be able to obtain the higher tier clients, the kind of clients that you really want, not just the kind of like mediocre clients where it's just a race to the bottom as far as pricing. So I want to make sure that you guys are going to walk away from today with an amazing experience where you're going to have some tools, some strategies, some tips, some things that you might learn along the way that might help you, that you can incorporate into your photography business, and you can immediately start making more money, because that's what it's about. Booking more clients, making more money, and essentially doing what you love to do, which is photography, and making a living doing it, because that's extremely important. It's important to me that you guys are doing your passion and making money doing your passion. That's extremely important to me. So now, if you guys have any questions, and feel free to ask them, I would love for you guys to jump on and ask questions in the Q&A. If you ask it in the chat, it's just going to be a message to myself and my panelists. I'd like for you guys to ask it in the Q&A section, and we're going to try to get to each and every one of your questions, so we can, find out what you guys, what you guys are up to, what you guys are thinking, and I'd love to hear from you guys out in the audience. So I'm going to just launch a few polls as well about kind of like just asking you guys about yourselves. I'd like to hear, what type of photography you do. I like to do this each time because I want to know what kind of industry you're in. Because I know we have a lot of, photographers from different industries. And today we're going to be talking about booking more clients in all aspects of photography. So even though I'm a commercial advertising photographer, I shoot huge ad campaigns, like six-figure ad campaigns. I film massive scale commercials. I film television. And I've photographed over 180 magazine editorials in my career. I still understand how to book more clients for other areas of photography. For instance, I'm going to talk about how to make more money and book more clients in wedding photography, how to book more clients in portrait photography, how to book more clients if you're trying to sell fine art to galleries and private collectors, or if you're trying to, get more clients to shoot like National Geographic style photography, and your dream is to be able to be shooting on the Serengeti and photographing for Nat Geo or outdoor photographer or some sort of outdoor publication. So it depends on what you guys are doing. There's answers and solutions for each and every one of those, but I'm going to try to cover quite a bit today. There's going to be a lot of content, a lot of really valuable content that I'm going to be providing, and also some of my amazing panelists and photographic business coaches are going to come on and give some great guidance as well. So some of you guys have heard them before, and some of them are fresh and new with a really fantastic perspective. So I'm really excited, and I've got a few, bullet points of exactly what I want to go over today. But I also want you guys to tell me. I want some Q&A. I want you guys to tell me, what it is that you want to know about, booking more clients. Maybe concerns or challenges you guys have had. Granted, there's COVID-related stuff, of course, but even stuff, what I notice is that whether COVID is going on or whether, before COVID, pre-COVID, still a lot of the same problems are occurring for photographers in regards to booking more clients. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some strategies and tips of like what we can do to overcome those, because I think it's really important that you guys are all inundated with work. You're inundated with clientele, and, you can't even, you have to turn people away. That's a position that I want you, each of you guys, to be in, is to turn away photographers, because then, or turn away photography clients, because then when you're turning away photography clients, you can pick and choose and select only the creme de la creme clientele. And that's what I want you guys to really start thinking about. On many of our past webinars, I've mentioned things like the 80-20 rule, and I want to make sure that you guys are focusing on your top tier customers. That's going to be absolutely critical. And what I mean by that is a lot of times we get bogged down by people that maybe are not the best customers for us. Maybe that they're too demanding, or maybe you have customers that don't want to pay what you're worth, or you have customers that they don't want to, you know, they book you for, you book them for the job, or they book you for the job, and they end up not paying you. You guys have probably had this situation before. A lot of customers, especially if it's a small town, you know, like consumer client, or like a small fashion company. I've shot for like fashion lookbooks where, you know, they're kind of broke and they end up actually not being able to pay out. All these kind of things can be a problem for photographers. So I'm going to talk about some solutions for that today, to kind of overcome some of those challenges, because I know each of you guys have had your own challenges when it comes to photography, and you have clients that aren't your, you know, amazing, perfect client that's going to come in and just spend tens of thousands of dollars and then just, you know, not give you any problems and keep buying more and keep buying more. You only have so many of those. But we want to identify who your ideal client is. And that's something that's really key. So welcome, everyone. I'm so excited for the Booking More Clients photography webinar. And I'm celebrity fashion advertising photographer Kevin Michael Schmitz. I'm a TV director, executive producer of the TV show Great Escapes. I'm also the director of the photography workshop series. And I've been shooting massive scale advertising campaigns my whole career and television commercials. But I also have specialized in working with photographers to maximize and coach them on becoming the best versions of their photographic self. So I want you guys to, you know, to really start to think about, as a photographer, if you want to be a full-time professional photographer, which many of you guys are, and some of you guys aren't, or many of you guys want to be, it's all about getting clients. And if we don't have clients, we can't be a photographer full-time, and then it's just a hobby, which is okay. It's not a problem to be a hobbyist photographer. That's awesome. But I know that a lot of you guys, even hobbyist photographers, you want to do this full time. You want to do it for a living. And for me, I always did too. You know, I started off in a rural West Michigan town of less than 2,000 people in rural West Michigan. And, you know, and I grew up with, like, you know, the epitome of top photography were the local wedding photographers and portrait photographers that were very busy. And I saw that as like, oh, wow, that would be the pinnacle of success. And I went to school for photography. Then I went to graduate school to do my MFA to be a professor of photography. And then I moved to Los Angeles to become a commercial advertising photographer, which is a very different route. But I have worked as a fine art photographer. I've sold fine art to galleries and private collectors. I have worked shooting photojournalism, shooting documentaries in Israel and the Gaza Strip during the Gaza invasion back in 2009. I have worked shooting product photography. I've done, when I first started out, when I was 19 years old, I was shooting senior portraits. I was shooting weddings. I was dealing with consumers. I was doing model portfolio shoots and headshots. I've literally done it all. But when I really started out full on with my career, what I really decided I wanted to do was when I was about 24 after graduate school, and I moved to Los Angeles, and I went full on to be a fashion photographer and a lifestyle advertising photographer. And that was my dream. So I did. I went full on. And I wanted to mention this to you guys of like how I did it in the very beginning. Well, there's kind of a step-by-step process. And, you know, and obviously it's different for each category of photography, but I'm going to talk about, you know, the way that I started, okay? The very, very first starting of my success in photography when I was 19 years old, okay? And it was in consumer photography, okay? So many of you guys who are consumer photographers out there probably run into this, having a hard time getting enough clients, having a hard time getting clients to pay what you deserve, right? And as a 19-year-old, you know, I was fresh and new, but I was like, I didn't know anybody. So I incorporated some strategies. I incorporated some referral strategies. I incorporated some sales strategies and some marketing strategies that worked really well for me. And even as a 19-year-old, I was able to pay my way through college just doing, you know, consumer photography and fine art photography for a living. So one of the ways I did this was, as for instance, for senior portraits in Michigan, and it's different everywhere, but generally, you know, the senior portrait client, they're 16 to 17-year-olds who are, you know, they're essentially wanting to do this big photo shoot for themselves for, you know, their yearbook and for their own pictures for their graduation and everything. And they always do it in essentially the late spring of their junior year into the summer or early fall of their senior year. So I had to time it correctly. And what I did was at the time, I looked for schools in the area, and this was in Grand Rapids, that were more well-to-do schools. So I specifically targeted a school called East Grand Rapids, which is one of the most elite schools in West Michigan. And I worked with, and I asked friends that I knew who had like a little sister that was in that grade, that was going into their senior year, who was very attractive and was also happened to be a fashion model. And and if you don't know somebody like that, you can always put up posts on Facebook, or you can seek them out in other ways. There's a lot of ways to seek out people like this. But I would the way I did it was through people I knew. And there was a very attractive blonde model. I think she was 16, turning 17, going into her senior year of high school. And what I did was I offered her my services for free. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do the most epic senior portrait photography of you. And I'm going to do like a fashion model portfolio shoot. It's going to be awesome. And it's all free. It's all free. And I tell you what, let's go and do it. Let's do this amazing shoot. I think I gave her like 6 looks. We did this shoot like on Lake Michigan on the beach, and it was amazing. But here's the key. I am interested in all of her friends, right? I want all of her friends to rave about it, get excited about me, the way that I'm doing something differently. I'm shooting really fantastic senior portrait photography in a fashion and lifestyle way. So what I did was, after I did this amazing shoot of her, I provided her with like a proof book. Now, I still think, and this is years ago, but I still think a physical book is going to be the best way to do this. But also having obviously a digital version these days during COVID, I think is really critical, so that if you're doing this shoot and you're providing this amazing photography for the customer, I want to make sure that you're going to be showcasing that to people. I want to make sure that she is going to become, my salesperson, essentially. So I offered her at the time, I think it was $75 per person that she ended up referring to me, who ended up booking a shoot with me, $75 for every single person that she referred, and that she would get paid. And I think this is really important. Don't pay the parents, pay the students, because it's the students that are talking to all their friends. And even though it's the parents that are paying for it, it's a student that's going to get really, really excited. So I want to make sure that you guys are thinking about this, and I want you to start to go after who you want to incentivize the most. And in this case, it was this girl who's going to be a senior in high school and all of her friends. So I had her go to the school with a proof book, beautiful printed proof book. It was like 12 pages long, had all of her pictures laid out, all of her best pictures. And I told her, you know what, Molly, go and have all of your friends choose what the best selects are for your final print package. So she went and she showed it to all of her friends. They all, chose, they circled the pictures, they got all excited. And you could do the same thing on digital. You could give her a digital proof book and have it, web resolution, so they can't print it themselves or whatever. And have a, say it's on Facebook or a link, and they can go and see a gallery, but having them spread it and get people excited about it. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I want to book with your friend Kevin. Like your senior photographer is amazing. And I had her write down a list of 10 of her friends. And then for each one of those friends, I sat down and I actually met them in person. These days I would do it via Zoom if I was still doing that. But what I did was I made sure that I make every single one of my customers write down a list of 10 of their friends. And I get their names, their phone numbers, their emails. And then eventually I think I rose it to $100. So I'd pay them $100 for every single one of their friends a book. So if you're talking to a 16, 17-year-old high school kid, you better believe $100 in cash is going to go a long way. To them, that's like, oh my gosh, that's way more than I'm going to be making. If they say that 4 of their friends book, $400 in cash goes a long way to a senior in high school. So I think that was a really good strategy for me to book more clients when I was a young 19-year-old photographer trying to make it in doing senior portrait photography. I started to do the same thing in wedding photography. Now, wedding photography is a little bit different, because wedding photography, I think that there's ways in which we can start looking towards the real high tier customers. Okay. And that's what I'm looking for. Like if I was a wedding photographer, and I have done weddings in my past, when I was in my, I would say from age 19 to like, say 23, I did do weddings. And for me, I was like, you know what? I want to do this, but I want to get paid more per wedding. I don't want to just shoot, a low end wedding. I don't want to have to shoot $1,000 or $2,000. I want to do, $10,000 weddings, $15,000 weddings. And those customers are out there. And even if you think that, oh, maybe in my rural area, whatever, I don't have access to those clients, believe it or not, there's a lot of clients all over the United States that will pay $10,000 to do their photography. In fact, I actually looked up some research on this and statistics before I jumped on this webinar, and I analyzed it according to The Knot, which is a wedding publication. They specifically talked about the average American is spending $30,000 on a wedding in total, right? That's average median. This counts for people in Nebraska, to people in, Florida, to people all over the country. There's on average it's $30,000. Okay, so if they're spending $30,000, why aren't you getting a lion's share of that as the wedding photographer? So if you're only charging $1,000 or $1,500 or $2,000, but the average price for a wedding is $30,000, that's a little silly. Because the biggest costs of a wedding are essentially what? They're going to be the catering, they're going to be the photography and the video, and they're going to be the venue generally. Those are the three biggest expenses. All the other stuff, the florists and all of the little things, the music, it's not as expensive generally. So it's those three big things. And if you can, control a part of that, I think that's really important. And just to give you guys an idea, I've been very successful. I've shoot, huge six-figure ad campaigns, and I shoot television and everything. And I've had the opportunity of a lifetime where, I was able to allocate my resources to actually buying a 13th century castle, a 49-room, 17-bedroom, 12-bathroom castle in France. And this spectacular castle in Massillon-Cambrai is my new castle that I just bought, and it's absolutely mind-blowing. And you know what? I'm using it not only as a second residence, but I'm also using it as a high-end venue for epic photo shoots, for filming productions, think like Downton Abbey and such, but also I'm also using it as for high-end corporate events and high-end weddings. And when I say high-end, I mean really high-end. My customers are they're going to be buying packages where I'm charging anywhere between, for the lowest possible package, it's $100,000 and it goes up to $3 million. And if you think that sounds crazy, believe it or not, it's actually not. There are a lot of clients that will pay hundreds of thousands of dollars. Even in California, I'm in Hermosa Beach right now, and of all the people I've known, and I've lived here in California for 15 years, I've never met somebody in California who did a wedding for less than $100,000. So people are spending, especially in places like here. So I'm having high-end customers that are coming in and spending hundreds of thousands and even millions of dollars at, utilizing this epic location, my Michelin star chefs, world-class high-end wedding photography, etc. And that means that you, as a wedding photographer, should be scaling yourselves towards clients like this and start approaching clients like this. So how do you book them? How do you get in touch with clients like this that would be willing to spend $500,000 on a wedding, right? Who are those people and how do I reach them? So one of the tactics and strategies that I recommend that is extremely useful is to also reach out, especially in the high-end market for weddings, is to reach out to wedding planners, okay? Wedding planners. And a lot of you might say, oh, I don't want to deal with wedding planners. No, I get this all the time and I'm always mystified at that. I don't know why. Because if the customer is wealthy enough to hire a wedding planner, that means that they're wealthy enough to spend a lot on their photography. That means that they have huge budgets. Typically wedding planners are going to come on if it's over $50,000. So typically weddings from wedding planners are $100,000, $200,000 weddings minimum. So you already know that the budget for photography is going to be very high. So my recommendation is to start reaching out to wedding planners, start looking them up. You can start developing a list. For instance, I have a list of about 40,000 wedding planners that I developed. Just looking on, Google, looking at wedding magazines, creating this database and then marketing to them, reaching out to them. Now, the important thing is to bring something of value to that clientele. And I'd say the same thing goes whether you're into portraits, weddings, if you're into fine art, if you're into fashion, into advertising. It's all about what kind of value can you bring to the table to the client. That's so important. And I think that's one of the biggest misses that photographers do is they don't really bring the value. So let's talk about what value is. Okay, so for me, value can mean a few things. One, value can mean just the quality of your work. The quality of your work value, because you're bringing world-class quality of photography that they might not have access to. You're bringing something to the table that's so over the top and so special that, you know, maybe they don't have that anywhere else. So that's adding value. That's adding significant value to the table. And I do this all the time. I like to bring a lot of value to the table because I feel like I have world-class production. I have high-end work. I have content that can blow away any competition. And I want you to feel that way as well. I want you to feel like your photography is at the top of its game. Okay. So, you know, when I come to the table of a client, I'm going to show them content like this, and I'm going to show them my brand. And if this is a fashion client, I'm going to show them my fashion brand and what kind of value I can bring to the table. Of course, this is your quality. This is your portfolio, your vision of what you can bring to the table. Okay. This is really important. Having world-class branding. And I mean, not just your clients in the pictures, but I want you to have professional models in the pictures. That's so important. So I'd say if you're a portrait photographer, if you're a wedding photographer, if you're a fashion photographer, lifestyle photographer, you've got to have professional top models in your portfolio. That is absolutely critical, because you will stand out. Because people are not gauging you based on your photography. Customers are gauging you in your value based upon who's in your photography. I can't stress this enough. This is so important. So booking more clients, one of the key critical components is having world-class branding and content to showcase to clients that's going to wow the pants off of them and give them impact. So that's one aspect. Another facet of this is, what can I bring to the table? Maybe video. You know, a lot of you guys have, I mean, you all pretty much have cameras that can shoot video now. And when we shoot video, it means that our budgets can go up, which is fantastic. And all clients across the board want video these days. I mean, they desperately want video. Everybody wants video. They want it for social. They want to be able to use it for, for their own purposes. If it's in a commercial case, sometimes they have it inside the store, like on a TV, a closed circuit TV. Sometimes they want it for a broadcast commercial. Sometimes they just want to post it on YouTube or on Insta. But for whatever the case, everybody wants video. So if you can bring video to the table, that's absolutely critical. And then you might say, well, you know, Kevin, I'm a photographer. I'm not really a video guy. That's okay. You can still produce world-class content and bring on a camera operator or a video production team to come help you actually at the production. I have a lot of photographers that I work with who end up taking our elite photographic workshops and shoot the greatest video that they've ever shot in their lifetime. And it translates to doing really high-end production. So I would say, and it's going to even help land you, believe it or not, it's going to actually help land you the big photographic campaigns. So I think that's a big, thing that people are not thinking about, is that it's not just about the video. It's not just about the photography that's going to land you the photography jobs. It's also the video that's going to land you photography jobs. That's extremely important to realize. So if you have an epic video reel, this is also added value. So I'll showcase to you guys, and I've done this at prior webinars, but I want to make sure that you guys see the kind of video profile of my production company. This is one of my production companies, Indigo Productions, and this is a video reel that gets people's attention. And something like this is added value. So I'm showcasing value to my customers, and I don't care if you're shooting weddings or fashion or lifestyle. I think video is absolutely key. Even if you're shooting travel photography, you have video of animals racing across the Serengeti. That is fantastic. Clients love to see that across the board. So I want you to think about what kind of value you guys can bring to the table. What you can bring that's going to just wow the socks off of a client and bring something more to the table than the other guy, than the other person that's bidding on the job, the other person that might book it over you. So you want to make sure that you are set up with the best branding. You've got the best photography portfolio. You've got the greatest video reel. You've got content for miles. It's going to just knock the socks off of people. It is absolutely key. And you know what's interesting? Half of this video reel on here was filmed at the photography workshop series, at our photographic workshops, on workshops that we have all over the place in the snow, in the summer, in Chicago, in Miami, in Los Angeles, in New York. We have some unbelievable content mixed in with our commercial production stuff as well as my TV show stuff. So something like this wows the pants off of clients. It gets them excited. In fact, Chad Chisholm, who I believe is on right now, he even set up an appointment with a major client, a big resort client, right before the Denver workshop, that I'm going to join him at that pitch meeting so that I can come in and pitch with him the unbelievable content of what we can bring to the table as a team and what we can do for that client to just wow and dazzle him. So I think that that's really awesome. And I do this all the time with my photographers. I take our workshops and that I coach and that I work with. You know, if you need that extra gravitas, hey, you know, you can bring other people along, whether it's me, whether it's somebody I can refer to you. I've got A-list people all over the world that I can recommend. And I think that's extremely, extremely important. All right, guys. I have, and I want you guys to remember, write in the Q&A some questions, and we're going to get to all these questions because we have a lot of good ones today, and I really appreciate all of your amazing questions. Now, if you just saw the epic video, if you guys are interested in taking your photography to the next level, I'd love for you to tell me a little bit about which of the experiences would add to your photographic portfolio. Which workshop would be interesting to you? And I'm going to put out a poll right now just to showcase, and I'm going to talk about why some of these things are going to benefit you to be able to book more clients, to have content that's going to wow the pants off of customers. I think this is pretty important. I think that it's really valuable to have content that is going to wow people, that it's going to excite people, that's going to make people absolutely go nuts over your photography. I think that's absolutely key. Now, one of the cool things is at our upcoming workshop, we also bring in unique props. We bring some really cool stuff to the table. So for instance, we have a Newport Beach workshop coming up in 2 weeks where it's going to be all about lifestyle, slice of life, caught in the moment. And this stuff can be applied not only to advertising, but also to consumer photography to wow and dazzle clients, to get them excited to want to work with you, to essentially be able to book more clients. That's going to be everything. Okay, so I want you guys to answer that the question in the Q&A or in the poll question right now. Which of these experiences would be interesting to you? What would help you take your photographic portfolio and video reel to the next level? Would it be something like Newport, which, by the way, Newport is completely sold out. But the cool thing is oh my gosh, are we delivering the most epic content imaginable at Newport, guys? We're bringing in, it's not only bringing in top tier models from the biggest modeling agencies. I have also booked, with the help of our production coordinator, Priscilla Evans, who's coming on, we're bringing on alpacas. We actually are shooting with alpacas on day 3. We're shooting with horses on day 4. We're going to do a whole boho lifestyle story, and it is going to be absolutely epic. Okay, so we're going to be creating all these scenarios and having all these amazing props that are going to be very different than other people have in their portfolios. Stuff that's going to be so unique and so different and out there. So I mean, if you can incorporate pictures of alpacas, with models wearing boho outfits, and then shooting with horses as well, with models shooting with a boho style, that can be really advantageous to your portfolio. Absolutely. So I want you guys to think about that. What can I bring to the table to add more value? Because that's what I want to do, to add more value to my clientele, to get them really, really excited about working with you and be able to book more clients. Because if you have more content, if you have content that's absolutely world-class, it's going to give you an opportunity to be able to book more clients, because you're going to have that gravitas. You're going to have that absolute world-class photography that is going to wow and dazzle consumer clients as well as commercial clients across the board. So I want you guys to think about that. What do you need to book more clients? Okay, is your branding where it needs to be? Because a lot of times it's not. And I consult and I coach photographers all the time, and I feel like, oh my gosh, what can we do to essentially book more clients? Well, it's usually because the branding is not there. It's not there. And I feel like it's really important, guys, to make sure that your branding is on top, because you're competing against some of the greatest photographers in the world, especially in the commercial space. And we need to make sure that our branding is on point. It's absolutely on point for you. Okay, now, if you're a fashion photographer, and you want to shoot something fashion, we have an epic Chicago experience that is absolutely mind-blowing. And I know some of you guys have attended this. I think we have Hans J. Paul on here. We have David Gesprecht. We have Jeffrey. We've got some amazing photographers on this webinar right now who have attended this workshop and have shot some of the greatest images of their life actually at this experience, which is absolutely mind-blowing. So content like this, where we shot with vintage stories, shot with 1960s Corvette, shooting with horses, photographing this unbelievable vintage equestrian story, absolutely incredible, absolutely mind-blowing to tell a story like this and to create moments that are going to be completely knocking the client off their chair. That's what we want, okay? Clients just go nuts over content like this across the board, whether it's consumer, whether it's commercial, whether it's editorial. So it's all about developing that body of work. And the cool thing is guys like David and guys, you know, and Hans, you guys have all signed up for a whole bunch more workshops because you saw how epic these experiences were. This was actually shot by, I believe, David at the Chicago workshop on the lifestyle day. And this is going to be mind blowing because just imagine we're going to be shooting something just like this in Newport, for instance, and then incorporating alpacas into it, which is going to be so cool. So cool. I just ordered like $20,000 of wardrobe from Free People and Urban Outfitters, and we're going to be creating just mind-blowing content. So I'm really excited. I make sure that each and every one of these productions is going to set you up to book more clients. We also have the Chicago experience, which is going to be absolutely insane. Not only Chicago, after Chicago, we have New York. We're going to be shooting in Fashion Week, right after Fashion Week in New York, and shooting with supermodels, some of which have been in the Versace campaign, Dolce & Gabbana. We had these girls were from the Giorgio Armani campaign, and then also Vogue and Vanity Fair. So shooting content that is going to just wow and dazzle clients, that's key. That's absolutely critical. All right, so what next? What do you guys need to book more clients? Okay, now I have a whole list of stuff that I wanted to cover, and I wanted to get to your Q&A as well. So please ask it in the Q&A, and also please answer the poll question. But the next thing I wanted to mention was, now that once you get this kind of branding, once you get this epic content, I want to make sure that we're becoming visible, okay? And what I mean by visible is I want to make sure that everybody knows who you are and sees you. And I can't tell you how often I see this where photographers are not visible on the web. They're just not even showing that they're out there visible. And to me, that's crazy because we want to make sure, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I meet a photographer and they say, you know what, Kevin, I have a separate portfolio. I have a portfolio that's, you know, on a SmugBug page and it's not available or it's password protected. That's where my newest work is. But this website's 10 years out of date. Or, you know what, Kevin, I just don't have a website at all. And, you know, and I just kind of get stuff through referrals and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, that's great. Totally fine. But what can we do to position you so that you're visible? Now, some of this stuff is pretty simple. Some of this stuff is as simple as like indexing your website on Google, making sure, first of all, that you build a website. You can build a website in 10 minutes using format.com or Squarespace and have a beautiful website like the ones I was just showing you. You can have some absolutely beautiful websites that, like this website right here, AtreyuProductions.com. This is like one of my production websites from some of my TV commercials. And this website took me maybe 10 minutes to put together. And, it's $16 a month. It's nothing, but it's visible too. And visibility also includes not indexing it on Google, making sure that it's a Google business, and then also SEOing it. So making sure your SEO is on point, especially for the area and the target audience that you want to go after. But making sure your visibility is important because a lot of photographers are not even visible. They're not, people don't even know they exist, which is absolutely crazy. And I want to make sure you guys are visible. That's so important. I want to make sure that people know who you are, they see who you are, and they get excited to work with you, because that is absolutely the first step in making sure that you can book more clients, is being visible. So I want you guys to start thinking about that, making sure people know who you are. And if you have amazing pictures that you shot and you created this epic portfolio and you haven't shown anyone, go show them. please do it, do yourselves a favor and show your best work. Always, always, always show your best work. I recommend that you build a 40 image cohesive body of work, something that's cohesive, meaning it all works together and it all correlates into a beautiful, spectacular layout of images that correlate a 40 image cohesive body of work to a certain genre. That's super important. And by the way, guys, if you want to set up, if you're interested in what we have to say today, and you guys find this fascinating in any way, as far as booking more clients, and you feel like you could benefit in some way from what I'm talking about, I recommend that you guys also set up, we're offering Book More Clients strategy session, and you can set up a one-on-one session with one of our photographic business consultants, and they can step-by-step go through some strategies with you in your own specific business of how to book more clients. So please, I put the link in the chat. Go ahead and click on that. And I strongly encourage you guys do that and take advantage of this opportunity, because you can get set up with one of either my production coordinator, with one of my top photographic consultants, one of my business consultants, and you can get on and we're giving away free consults, because we're here to give away and coach and guide people. That is absolutely critical for us. It's so important to me that each and every one of you succeeds, and that's why we offer this. That's why we're out there for our photographers, because we want you, and this is regardless of whether you ever take a workshop or not, it doesn't matter. I want you guys to be successful. I want each and every one of you to achieve your dreams and to fulfill your potential of what you are capable of as a photographer. That's really important to me. So I want you guys to start thinking about that, and please click on that and set up a call, a contact, a Zoom one-on-one session with a professional consultant. We've got sessions up going even this evening as well as tomorrow and Friday, and I strongly recommend you guys set up an appointment. Now, after you guys become visible, the next aspect is I want you to target the correct clients, okay? This is really important. Now, in our one-on-ones, we can go over this a lot more in depth, but targeting the right clients are key. And this is where a lot of photographers miss the boat. They're targeting clients that don't have the money. They're targeting clients that maybe aren't interested in what they do, what they specifically shoot. And I want to make sure you guys are targeting only people that are specific to what you're doing in photography, and targeting clients that are going to pay what you deserve. Absolutely key. Okay, so when it's commercial clients, I like to use a system called Agency Access. Okay, Agency Access or Bikini List, those are two competing companies that do this, but those are essentially what we call source lists to be able to contact the decision makers at those agencies. And these are art producers. This is for commercial photography and editorial photography. Art producers at advertising agencies, creative directors at advertising agencies, as well as photo editors at magazines. And these people are really important because they're the decision makers when it comes down to booking you on jobs. So for instance, I'm just going to pull it up so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. So this is my Agency Access database. Okay, this has all of the decision makers, all 63,000 decision makers in the world that hire photographers, specifically North America, South America, Europe, Australia, and East Asia. And these are the premier decision makers. So for instance, this is a ad agency that I've met with numerous times here it's in El Segundo. It's like 15 minutes away from me in Los Angeles. And this is one of the biggest advertising agencies in LA, 72 and Sunny. And I'd be reaching out to people like Sabrina, senior art producer here at 72 and Sunny. She's going to be a main decision maker. So if I can capitalize on, oh, who is this? Who are my ideal clients? Well, 72 and Sunny is the advertising agency that represents the brands that are hiring that advertising agency to hire photographers and production and do their media buy. So if I can set up a meeting with Sabrina and set up and go in and meet with her, obviously in person, that's ideal. During COVID, it's via Zoom meeting is fine. So how do I get in touch with her? Well, here's her phone number, direct phone number to her office, which can then patch it into whoever's at the desk, and you can patch it into Sabrina, or you can email her or send her a LinkedIn message, follow her on Instagram, contact her on Facebook, do all the above until you build a relationship. And I would reach out to someone like Sabrina if I want to shoot a huge advertising campaign for 72 and Sunny, and I want to showcase my lifestyle body of work. My lifestyle body of work, because that's the kind of content that's going to get them excited, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for lifestyle advertising photography. That's what they love. And that's what generally their brands are all allocated on. Just like what we're going to do for the workshops in Newport Beach coming up in February this month, as well as the Denver workshop that we have coming up in March. And when I show my content like this is what they get excited about. This is what gets them excited. So 72 and Sunny would be a great agency, and I have their data right there because I'm using that source book, okay? Using Agency Access, using Bikini List, they're all great. And obviously they need to be updated all the time because people come and go, but that's a great way to start. Otherwise, you're just shooting in the dark. You have no idea who you're contacting. But if you want to contact Versace and shoot a Versace campaign, it's in the list. If you want to contact, shoot for a major client like Pepsi, you have to contact the advertising agency that represents Pepsi. And they often have several agencies. So for instance, when I've shot campaigns for Pepsi or Smirnoff or Miller Lite or Coors Light or Levi's, they have agencies that represent them. And oftentimes, if the bigger the company, the more agencies they have. So you have to fish out who that is, who the art buyer is, and the creative director in that market. So we're going to target our audience. Okay. Now, the consumer market, it's a little bit different. Okay. Consumer markets, we have to find out, okay, who are those clients? If you're a wedding photographer, maybe it's the wedding planners, or maybe you're dealing bride and groom direct and you want to contact them. So is it a trade show? Well, trade shows aren't really happening right now. The big wedding trade shows are all kind of shut down because of COVID. So what do? There are all kinds of bride groups on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on different social platforms. There are opportunities to reach brides through all kinds of bridal magazines and forums, through the Knot and Bridal Magazine and Wedding Magazine, getting wedding editorials with high-end top models, just like we have at our workshops. We even have a wedding photography workshop in May up in Napa Valley, and it's going to be absolutely mind-blowing to develop content like that is ready to go and publish in a major wedding editorial. So that would be another option. Okay, what do? Another option is to reach out and start working with magazine editorials that all the brides, every single bride opens a magazine for Bridal Magazine at some point. So why not have your work in a bridal magazine? And it's also a lot easier to get published in a bridal magazine than it is a high fashion magazine, by the way. So think about that. And if you need lists like that of who to contact, there's a couple of ways of doing it. One is you can just go on and get through Agency Access or Bikini List, or you can also find it just by going to any Barnes & Noble and looking on the masthead, which is basically you open up a magazine and usually a few pages in, it'll have a masthead of who that decision maker is and their contact information usually as well. And the decision maker to a magazine will be the photo editor or the fashion editor or the editor-in-chief. But we have a high-end wedding photography workshop coming up in May, and shooting content like this is just going to blow away your clients with top world-class fashion models and epic high-end gowns. We're going to be shooting with over $100,000 of wedding gowns and doing an unbelievable fashion wedding story, which you can then add value to book more clients with high-end weddings instead of a couple $1,000 weddings, $10,000 weddings, $15,000 weddings, maybe even weddings at a castle in France where they have massive scale budgets. Okay, so they're out there. The clients are out there and the clients are spending. We just need to make sure that you guys are taking advantage of that opportunity, making sure that you're reaching the right people. So other clients to target, there's other ways in which we can target, say for if you're a portrait photographer. I want you guys to not only become heavily SEO'd, but also set up a referral system to get more clients, just like we talked about earlier on with some of my suggestions for, like, say, senior portrait photography. And also it goes for wedding photography and other portrait photography as well. And also giving commissions to those clients to refer more people to you, incentivize them. Same thing with wedding planners. When I'm having these wedding clients bring these $1 million weddings to me at the castle, do you think they're going to be doing it out of goodwill? Heck no. Although the castle's absolutely breathtaking. It's a 49-room castle built in the 13th century. It's unbelievable. But they're coming to me because I'm going to give them a 10% kickback on the budget. So if it's a $1 million wedding, I'm going to give them $100,000 in cash for them to bring in that client. And the same thing goes with photography. If you're going to a high-end wedding planner, why not offer them a kickback? If it's a $10,000 wedding, why not offer them $1,000 back? It's crazy not to, because I can guarantee you there's probably a dozen other photographers that are offering something just the same. So if you're not going to give them some sort of financial reason to do it, they're probably not going to choose you and select you based upon just the quality of your photography. Although that does go a long way, it's based upon how much that wedding planner is going to make. Okay. Other strategies of getting clients would be to use Google remarketing display ads. This is something that I absolutely love. I think I've been using these for years. I stopped them maybe about a year ago, but essentially, you know, if you guys, I know you know what I'm talking about, because if you, for instance, you know, if we had these enacted on your website, a client comes to your website and a little tag, a little like cookie is now embedded, a little tracking mechanism of pixels now embedded in their site. And everywhere they go for the next 180 days, they're going to see your photography, follow them wherever they go. So if they're going on bridal websites, if they're going to shop for their ring or shop for their dress, or they're, you know, or if they're a commercial photographer and they're looking up, any commercial photography anywhere, the Google display ads of your photography is going to follow them wherever they go. They can't get away from you. And there's this old saying, this adage of you have to see something at least 9 times before you even consider buying it. Goes a long way. Google remarketing display ads, they're very, very inexpensive. Very inexpensive. They're probably one of the cheapest forms of ads, and I've really enjoyed it. I feel like, you know, I've used these to my utmost advantage, and it's worked really, really well in the past. I recommend doing stuff like this, especially for portrait photographers, because that way they can't get away from you, basically. You know, you're going to be following them wherever they go. And then, of course, getting published in magazines. Getting published in magazines can really add a lot of value to you and your photographic brand, because now you're not just a photographer, you're somebody that actually is published. And that's absolutely key. Now, by the way, I'm just posting the poll results. It looks like the majority of you guys actually are interested in the Napa Valley workshop. And that's fantastic, because this is the only time we've ever offered a Napa Valley wedding photography workshop. So it's very exclusive. All the other workshops are high-end fashion and lifestyle. Napa Valley is all about wedding and portrait. So if you guys are interested in that, let us know. And I'd love to get you guys involved. Now, the next poll that I'd like to, to share with you is essentially, how likely would you be to enroll? You know, if you were ready and excited to, to take your photography portfolio to the next level, how likely would you be to do it? You know, are you 10 being like, yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to take my photography to the next level. And I want to become a world-class top photographer that's shooting for major magazines and becoming really successful. For instance, we had a gentleman that attended our LA workshop and our New York workshop. And he started out as a portrait photographer. His name was Charles Randolph Warren. And now the gentleman, after my guidance and coaching, he's been shooting for Dolce & Gabbana Brazil. He's been shooting for Harper's Bazaar, Vogue Brazil, Vogue Tokyo, Cosmopolitan, L'Officiel. He shot the Fila campaign. He shot a Lee Jeans campaign. He's absolutely crushing it. And you know what's awesome? Is after all these years, he now is interested in also getting into lifestyle advertising photography, which I'm really, really excited about, because he's such a talented photographer, and I'm excited to see where he goes with that aspect. Where is he going to go with that type of photography? So, and I think, and he's already arranging to sign up for a lifestyle advertising photography workshop with us, because he knows how well it was for success for him, which is really exciting. Guys like him, like Charles. So guys, getting published is key. And that's actually, he got published from the first workshop he came to with me. And after that, it kind of catapulted him to the next level. And then he started shooting for Vogue, and he started getting on to the next level, which really helped his brand, guys. So we talked about targeting more clients, becoming visible, targeting the correct clients for commercial, targeting the correct clients for consumer. We talked about branding, branding yourself as a world-class top photographer, and also not being that jack of all trades, master of none, but to become the specialist in what you do. So if you do fashion and swim and boudoir, I want you to make sure that, hey, it's okay to shoot all those, but separate them. Be a boudoir photographer and be just a specialist in boudoir. Be a fashion photographer and only showcase your fashion photography, just like I do. I have very separate brands for each, and I've showed you a few of them. Very separate brands for my different photography businesses. And I think that there's nothing wrong with doing that, to specialize and get it right to the right audiences. That's absolutely key. Okay, now before I go on to the next one, I'm going to answer a couple of your guys' questions, and I also want to bring in some of our wonderful, amazing panelists. Okay, I have a message in the Q&A here from Carlos Roberto Fabre, And Carlos is asking, do you connect on LinkedIn, Model Mayhem, models.com, social channels, editorials, listed contacts, commercial and advertising marketing agencies? Great question, Carlos. First of all, LinkedIn is my best friend. Okay, I am mad busy on LinkedIn. I have literally 20,000 contacts on LinkedIn. I have over 12,000 connections on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is a powerhouse that I incorporate more than anything else. So I would strongly recommend LinkedIn is going to be one of your best friends, Carlos. That's going to be absolutely critical, is really engaging with people on LinkedIn. So having a really powerful profile so that when people go to your profile, they're just like wowed and dazzled by what you do. But also not just having a strong profile, having great content, and also reaching out to people. And I recommend you guys all add me on LinkedIn because I'm connected to everybody. So if you want to connect with art buyers, I'm connected with all the art buyers, okay, in the United States. I'm connected with all the big creative directors. So that's going to be really key, is having those connections. And LinkedIn is absolutely critical for that. So here, I'm going to show you guys my LinkedIn profile. So on my LinkedIn profile, you know, it's pretty powerful. And I've got all my, you know, strongly branded. It's got content of what I'm up to. It's got content of, you know, projects I've done. It's got, okay, look at this. Just 478 people had just viewed my profile. It showed up in 193 searches. So it looks like people are looking for me. And it's because I'm reaching out. I have really strong branded experience, my different production companies. And also, this is a key thing a lot of people miss. They don't create a profile for your company. And this little icon is blank. Got to make sure that you have an icon on there. You got to make sure that that's a brand. Each and every one of these has a brand. Really, really important. Okay. So I want you guys to, to just take a look at this. And even agents that have represented me in the past and such as well. I have all of that stuff on my LinkedIn profile, and I use it heavily, absolutely heavily. I also incorporate and hire people to do it. In fact, my world-class marketing expert, Michael Sterling, is going to be the director. He's going to be directing a whole coaching session on how to market yourself at the workshop we have on marketing for photographers on February 27th, where it's an intensive all-day experience, all via Zoom, just on marketing yourself for photographers, which is amazing. We've only done this twice before. It was a smashing success. It was such an incredible experience. And for those of you guys who are interested in taking your photography to the next level, I recommend in really amping it up on the marketing side. This is our least expensive photographic experience. It's only $12.95, and we're offering as a webinar attendee. You guys can jump on and actually enroll for only $9.95. So actually, you get a $300 discount. You go ahead and register on this link that I'm sending in the chat. And I know the last time we did this on one of our webinars, we had a whole bunch of you guys just signed up and got really excited. But the beautiful thing about this is not only is the marketing workshop going to develop you, we're going to bring on George Perez Reps, by the way, JP Reps, which is one of the top photography agents in Los Angeles. We're going to bring on 46 Pictures, which is one of the top. If you guys came to one of our last webinars, he was one of the panelists on the last webinar a couple of weeks ago. And he represented top photographers like Peggy Sirota, who shoots for Apple. And world-class photography reps like this, as well as Michael Sterling. And to give you an idea who these people are, George Perez Reps, this is his work. You can actually see this on our website too, some of these panelists. He reps some of the biggest photographers like John Russo, Murad Osman, Rowan Daly, some of these big time celebrity photographers. He's incredible. We're also going to bring on the great 46 Pictures from Jay Foster. He's a top photography rep in LA as well, giving you guidance on marketing. And then our expert, Michael Sterling, where he literally is a full-time marketing expert for photographers. He's giving all kinds of great guidance. So it's going to be a super intensive, like 6-hour intensive marketing workshop on February 27th. And the beautiful thing about this is it's 100% credited towards any 4-day workshop. So basically, just about everybody that signs up for this ends up doing a 4-day workshop anyway. So it's 100% credited. So that $1,000 you put down is 100% credited towards any real workshop, 4-day intensive photographic portfolio building workshop like Chicago, like Los Angeles, New York. And so basically it's free. that $1,000 gets recouped back as a credit. And this is the first time we've ever done that, but we're doing it because we just want to build expert photographer marketers out there. We want to make sure you guys are booking more clients. And obviously I want to, complete the component with you guys booking more jobs through developing your portfolio as well, because that's absolutely critical. So make sure to click that link to sign up because this is going to be absolutely key for you guys to develop the marketing side of your photographic business and to learn from all these masters like JP Reps, like Jay Foster from 46 Pictures, like Michael Sterling, as well as myself. And I'm going to be showing you some in-depth behind the scenes how I do my Infusionsoft mass emailing to 1.5 million 1.5 million messages a month to 63,000 decision makers that hire photographers. How I reach out to people on LinkedIn. What's the protocol? How I speak to people. How when I contact them, what do I say? What is the way in which I get in the door to book those huge opportunities and then land the campaign? That's absolutely key. I'm also going to be going through, you guys, I want you to stick around on this webinar because towards the end, I'm going to go through a step-by-step process of how I book clients. Okay, it's like a 12-step process. So make sure to stick around. I know, this webinar has a lot of information, but some of the best stuff I want to go over towards the end. So please stick around for that. It's going to be absolutely key. All right. Now, before I get to some more questions, I want to bring on some of our amazing panelists. Now, I have the great Daniel Rothschild on here. He is an absolute master and mentor of photographers. He has mentored some of our absolute best photographers, and many of you guys that are on right now. I know he works with Hans and David and a lot of you guys that are on this webinar right now. Brian, Carl, Jeffrey, Dan, I mean, all these amazing photographers on here, Gene. We got these incredible people that get an opportunity to work with Dan, and Dan has given so much valuable guidance and has worked with developing photographers' confidence, developing their brand, maximizing their potential, and taking them to the highest level of their potential. And this is really important to me because Daniel Rothschild is an absolute master with photographers. And he happens to be a Rothschild, which is pretty awesome too. So the great Daniel Rothschild, I'd love for you to jump on, and I'd love for you to talk a little bit about what your guidance is for photographers to book more clients.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Great. Well, welcome everybody. So I'm gonna point out we've gone over a lot of information. We're still going to be going over a lot more techniques and planning and details, but I'm going to address a more mental, emotional, and spirited point that actually I believe is the cement and building block foundation for booking more clients. I'm going to tell a little story as an example, and it's about believing in yourself. It's one of the key components besides all the techniques and planning and details. I was speaking with yesterday an absolutely magnificent photographer and working on plans on targeting and approaching big name brands, like as an example, maybe Pepsi and Levi or Pfizer or AT&T as examples. And during our conversation, out of the blue, the photographer said, to begin with, I don't think I can approach such big companies. Now, this photographer already through our epic workshops, following our guidance, has built a portfolio that not only strongly competes, but outperforms any of these mentioned companies' photographers that they have hired. And so this type of uncertainty, the guidance I'm going to be giving to everybody is this. From the beginning, at the very beginning of your day, and from opening your eyes when you wake up to the very last moment of your day, you have to decide to put your mind in success mode. I have a basic formula. Now, I know this is probably going to sound a little corny, but it's the formula I've used to remind myself that works, and that's this. Here's the example that the science of success is based on. I tell myself, finger move. Oh my gosh, it moved in the exact direction I told it to and to accomplish exactly what I wanted. Now, it sounds kind of silly, but it's really how your whole day, your career, and every aspect of your work on booking more clients is based on. So what you have to do is set your mind to know and believe that you are that success, and that any client you want is already your client. Consider it done. So start your day knowing whether it's the company or the agency or the magazine or the wedding planner, that they have already hired you and they are yours. Obviously, you have a list of target clients you want to go after and get. In your mind, you are already hired by them. So if you were to speak with any successful person, doesn't matter what industry, what company, what they do, this is their platform that they work in and the basis of all they do. Kevin is a perfect example of that. This is how he works every day. He has the total confidence he's going to accomplish his goal. All successful people do this. So it's really important. Yes, I know it can be easy to say, oh yeah, I know, I gotta, think well of myself and this and that, but you seriously have to discipline your mind from the beginning you get up, to the very end of your day, that you are this success. Now, I'm going to give a little bit of homework to you. No big deal. I want you to write down your opening day saying. I want you at the beginning of the day to read it, because we're all visual people. So it goes in that sensation. I want you to speak it out loud so you hear it, goes in. And I want you, while you're doing that, to feel that success. This begins your day, and you program your mind to function in this success production mode. So that's what I have to offer to everyone today. Feel free to contact us. I'd always love to work with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. I really like Dan's suggestion on mindset, because I think that that's one of the things that a lot of photographers struggle with, is just thinking that it's not possible. And trust me, it's possible. The opportunities are out there. In fact, the great Stephen Michael Nava, who's on right now as one of my favorite photographers I've worked with over the years, him and Angel Cintron. They are wonderful photographers that I've been working with. And, Steve, you went from never even doing photography before to shooting some of the most world-class photography of your life at the workshops, and then having the success of getting published in massive magazine editorials like L'Officiel and doing just incredible stuff. And the success from what I've seen from you, Steve, is absolutely incredible. And I appreciate all of your answers or your questions on here. You had mentioned a few things, such as representation. You asked about making decisions on hiring photographers for Condé Nast. Absolutely. And in fact, I would say, Steve, you guys are great candidates to get represented by an agent. And I would love to, talk with you personally about that, about obtaining representation from a photography rep, as well as if you are wanting to get in at the highest levels of Condé Nast, to essentially, incorporate agency access and Bikini List to reach out to those decision makers, such as the photo editors at each one of Condé Nast is the big magazine publication company that owns Vogue and many other top magazines. They're kind of the creme de la creme, and obviously top fashion photographers want to be in touch with those people. So Absolutely. And Steve, thanks for those great questions on there. Now, Priscilla Evans, she's my production coordinator, and she's the amazing person that actually hooked up, bringing in alpacas for Newport, as well as horses. She's also had brought in the amazing horses at the Elite Masterclass. That was absolutely breathtaking. Actually, the image with the top supermodel and horse, that was the invitation link to this amazing webinar, was arranged all by Priscilla. So she coordinated that whole production. That was all her. So absolutely amazing. And and to see production at that level, when you bring in horses, you bring in alpacas, you have all this incredible stuff. All of that adds to production value. In fact, here is Priscilla herself riding one of those horses across the water. This is a shot actually at the Elite Masterclass, and absolutely incredible. So Priscilla, I'd love for you to jump on and talk to us about, what do you see? What is your guidance for photographers to book more clients?
Yeah, thank you so much, Kevin. And I want to echo what Dan said as well about mindset, because definitely mindset matters when you're in the business of photography. And I was actually just working the other day with a photographer who we're starting up, the coaching process with her, and she's really, really excited. We actually had a few conversations before she even got into one of our workshops. She's actually coming to two this year. And really interesting little story about her with mindset, because she actually found out, she told me yesterday, so I found out, that the day after she actually made that decision to enroll, and she actually, that click happened for her, and she realized that investing in herself was really, really going to pay off. The day after that, so that's before we even really got stuck into any kind of coaching, but the day after, she booked a shoot that came out of the blue, and it was the highest paying shoot she's ever had for that short amount of time. So for her, that was a new record. It was an entirely amazing experience, and that came from really, I think, a shift in mindset more than anything else. So that really does pay off. Mindset definitely matters. And with regard to that, the mindset of how you actually approach and view your photography business matters, because it is a business. So something I actually wanted to share with everyone today is a couple of statistics, and these are some statistics from Forbes magazine about businesses. And it's something that I think we all kind of forget, because we get stuck into the photography and the creative side, and we sometimes forget about the actual business that we're trying to make work. So according to Forbes magazine, 80% of all businesses fail in the first year. 96% of all businesses fail in 10 years. And of the businesses out there that succeed, which are pretty few and far between from what we've just heard, only 5% of those ever make $1 million in revenue. That's ever. So what that tells us is that most businesses fail, and of any that do succeed, they actually don't make any money. So from a photographer's point of view, I think that something that we all should really consider is who we turn to guide us on how to make our businesses work. And that's really where an amazing photographic business coach, not just any old business coach, because there's a lot of business coaches out there that claim to be able to help, and for this much we can help you out and get you in for a couple of sessions or do a consult here. All our consulting is done free. So that's one really great benefit of working with an amazing business coach such as Dan or Sean or Eva, Kara, anyone on our team. So for us, and especially Kevin, he's got the experience to actually give you the credibility with regard to a business coach. So something I would recommend is that if in regard to booking more clients, if what you're currently doing isn't working, if it's not meeting the goals that you've set out for yourself, or if in the last few years it's been really, really tough to make it work, which I'm sure it has for a lot of our photographers out there with COVID and the effects that that's had on everyone. But to really consider getting a business coach, and be specific with who you choose. Be really careful about who you choose, and definitely try us out. We're offering our free business and marketing consults. We always try to add value. And even if, right now it's not a great time for you to go and throw a whole lot of money into something that you're not yet sure about, talk to us about it. Get some guidance, and get some guidance from people that are in the game. And with regard to that, I think that doing these webinars is another really great benefit to businesses and the business of photography, to stay on these, really, keep collaborating as a group, because photographers, it can feel a little isolating. We're all out in our individual locations, working with clients that maybe we don't get to see very often, except for when we're actually with them. So get on board and collaborate and do as much as you can to benefit yourselves by really investing in your own business.
Wow, I love that. That's beautiful. I couldn't agree more with that, Priscilla. I think that a lot of photographers forget that they're running a business. I mean, that's what we're doing. And if we want to make money and we want to survive as a photographer, we have to treat it as a business. So I appreciate that, Priscilla. And a lot of times, we got to start putting ourselves in the mindset. That's why this whole topic today is all about booking more clients, because that's what the whole objective is. Because we want to book more clients. We want to book great clients. We want to have the most amazing clients out there. And I think that that's something that eludes a lot of photographers because we're creative people. We're, generally we're not sales and business people. And it's something that's why I'm here to help guide you along the way, and my photographic consultants are here to specialize. So go ahead and click on that link in the chat. One of the links is to set up a free consult with one of our photographic consultants, so a Calendly appointment via Zoom, like Priscilla or Eva or Kara or Dan or Sean, or to go ahead and enroll in our Marketing for Photographers workshop, which is going to be on February 27th, all on marketing yourself as a photographer. Now, I want to answer a couple more questions, and I appreciate these. Okay. Now, Avi Circus asks, can I make a high business of HDR real estate pictures? Yeah, you know what? You can. I mean, there always is a need for HDR real estate. Absolutely. Every real estate agent that sells high-end properties hires photographers, and they generally want to do a kind of a HDR kind of look. But if you want to do high-end photography in a way where we're going to make real money, and you still want to do the real estate industry, I would do really high-end, like multi-million-dollar estates, approaching agencies that represent that, and then creating like a lifestyle or fashion film at the estate. And this is where a lot of really high-end listings, that's what they do. They hire a model, they shoot it on a gimbal, they do a high-end video and photography, not only of the property, but also of a model enjoying the property. And Avi, I would highly recommend doing something like that, because it can add a lot of value to what you can do and what you can bring to the table to the clientele. So I think that, something like what we're going to be doing in Newport, for instance, we're going to be doing exactly that and developing that kind of a reel. That's going to be absolutely amazing. Okay, so another question here. I have, okay, an anonymous attendee says, my focus is on product photography and creative direction for beauty brands. What would you recommend as a sales platform for targeting agencies and brands if you cannot afford a one-on-one? What would you recommend as an approach when reaching out to these companies? Okay, well, first of all, our one-on-one sessions are free. So that's what I would suggest you do, is go ahead, and I think you can afford that. And secondly, to whoever this anonymous attendee, I would recommend that if you're just doing product photography, unfortunately, product photography has kind of become commoditized, because you can do product photography anywhere, and you can do it in India, and so because there's no top models in production with a lot of product photography, it can become commoditized. And what that means is that the price goes down and the value goes down. So I'd highly recommend, because I work with a lot of product photographers, food photographers, and also beverage photographers, try to develop a lifestyle brand to incorporate lifestyle with the product. Because if you can incorporate lifestyle with the product, you can make a lot more money per photo shoot and have much, much bigger budgets. Okay, so that's what I would recommend, is develop that photography, not only the photography, but also like a video reel to correspond with it. Because now you can develop a interaction with the product. And give you an example, I had a gentleman named Randy Perrietti. I don't know if Randy's on right now, but I did a coaching session with him a couple of days ago. And Randy has attended 7 of our workshops. And there is an image that he created that he's a Denver photographer, and he's come to the Denver workshop. But Randy had shot an image like this, incorporating product into the photography and doing a lifestyle product campaign at this was an Atlanta workshop of ours, a lifestyle workshop. So creating something where you can incorporate like a Coca-Cola can into a lifestyle story, that's what I would recommend. I think that would be my strong recommendation for you, because it'll open up doors. Instead of making, say, a couple $1,000s on a shoot, you can be making a couple $100,000 on a shoot. That's a much better situation for you. Okay, now, and guys, I want you to stick around, because I've got some, I'm going to give you my 12-step kind of process of booking more clients after I wanted to hear from a couple more of panelists. So the great Kara Katzen. Kara, hey, welcome to our team. So Kara is new to our team, and Kara is incredible, because what I love about Kara is that not only is she a genuine, amazing, positive, bubbly, wonderful human being to work with, but Kara also is a photographer. She's a professional photographer who specializes in shooting children and portraiture, and she's brilliant at it. She's actually a really talented photographer herself. So she has experience as a consumer photographer for many years, and she also coaches and guides photographers. So Kara, can you talk to us a little bit about kind of some suggestions and guidance from your perspective as a working photographer, what you see and how you would suggest coaching photographers to book more clients?
Absolutely. Thank you. Happy to be here. As a child fine art photographer, I've had to be very creative in bringing in new business in this challenging time. These are things that you can implement right away, tomorrow, if you want. One of the things is pay attention to new businesses. They're cropping up all over. So, you're driving down the street and you see a boutique, pop in or call them and collaborate with them and bring clients in, offer quickie headshots like that. And you might even pick up a social media job shooting for that company while you're there, or even the clients who are in front of you. It's a win-win and just maximum exposure in a really short period of time. Another way you can do that is target other photographers. For example, I do shoot some boudoir, so kind of difficult to advertise for boudoir on a child fine art photography website. So one of the things I do is I reach out to top newborn photographers, and I say to them, come on in and I will shoot a boudoir session for you in exchange for, let's talk about some of your it girl clients who are big, word of mouth people. In exchange for some information about them and letting me contact them and ask them if, they might want to do boudoir sessions, I'll shoot a full session for you. And it's a fun way to, network with another photographer and gain access to their big clients immediately. I actually did that and turned one of the girls into an outright brand ambassador for me, which has been just, her word of mouth alone has driven tons of new business into me. Another avenue is real estate photography. I mean, there are 1,000,001 real estate offices. Call up that broker and offer them a free headshot, the broker that is, bring in hair and makeup, and then just shoot a full day of the rest of their agents. And, in one day you can make thousands of dollars. Meanwhile, you're talking to the agents about, what other genre you might shoot. So these are just really creative, small ways that you can do immediately that get you out there, that might bring business in really quickly for you. And best of all, you can't use that I'm in a rural market excuse, because, there are these businesses even in rural markets. So that's what has really been beneficial to me.
Yeah, you're in Missouri, right? So like you're not in like a Hollywood, Los Angeles, or New York or whatever, but you're able to do it, and you're able to I love that, Kara. So giving some guidance to our fellow photographers out there to really develop themselves, and essentially you gave some really good guidance of like, okay, this is how I do it, straight up. This is how I do it. This is how the great Kara Katzen does it.
You're too kind. The creativity part comes naturally when you're envisioning the shoots, but get just as creative with your marketing and you will get fast results.
Excellent. I love it. Okay. So, and guys, by the way, I just want to appreciate all of the amazing questions. You guys have asked some incredible questions. I really appreciate it. Carlos, Roberto, Fabre, I really appreciate all your questions, and Heather, and I know that Priscilla's been answering a lot of them. Okay, so Joshua Cotillo also asked, how are you attracting clients during COVID? My clients haven't been willing to spend money because their sales are down. Got it. Now, Priscilla's answer to this, I want to just announce this, guys, attract new clients. Don't just sit around and wait for the same old clients to keep booking you. Don't just sit around and just wait for the phone to ring, because it's not going to happen. we got to look out for new ways of doing it. So I'm going to give you guys kind of a step-by-step process of what to do. Now, after I go and talk with Eva here, I'm going to go through a step-by-step process of the top 12 steps, which I do from beginning to end in a way that I book clients. It's kind of just a standard methodology that I use, and I always have, and it works for any type of photography, whether you're in a landscape photography, portrait, consumer, wedding, fashion, lifestyle, etc. So, all right, so Eva, I'd love for you to jump on. Eva's also new to our team, and Eva, I'd love for you to kind of give some guidance on what you suggest, because I know you talk to a lot of photographers and you give a lot of amazing coaching advice. You're very business minded and very business oriented, which I really appreciate. So Eva, can you talk to us a little bit about what are some of your suggestions for booking more clients, and what can you suggest to kind of for photographers to take it to the next level right now?
Well, absolutely. And, I probably have talked to a few people that are on the webinar right now. Hopefully I'll talk to a lot more. And one of the things that I really want to talk about is once you get those amazing photos and the great opportunities to get those six-figure contracts and clients and all that great stuff, the one piece of equipment all photographers have, but utilize very, very little is this guy, the phone. Unfortunately, a lot of I can't tell you how many photographers I try to contact and I can't get a hold of anyone. No one picks up. They don't return calls or texts or emails. And even if it's not available for you, there's no information as to when your business hours are or any good stuff like that. So being accessible is very, very, very important. And the business side is the side that's no fun. And that's the side that nobody likes to do. And frankly, it's not an intuitive side, but luckily that's something that can be learned. And that's why one-on-one business coaching is one of the best things you can do. That's what we're here for. We're here to take you step by step to navigate you through those rocky parts that you're not so sure about, that you're not that good at, that you don't feel like you have the confidence or the time, and show you exactly how to navigate all that. So you do have the time, you know exactly what to say when those opportunities come up with those creative directors that are going to give you those six-figure deals. You'll know what to say and what to do and how to present yourself. When a bride comes to you and it's her day and she's so excited and she wants to share that excitement with everyone she talks to, and you're having a bad day and you sound a little cranky on the phone, that is going to affect your business. So again, one-on-one business coaching is going to be your very, very best friend, because I talk to photographers all day long and your success is going to be my success. And I know Kevin has posted links for you to be able to set up those appointments. So I would love to hear from you guys. I'd love to talk to you, and hopefully we'll get you from point A to point B and sharing your great success.
Thank you, Eva. I really appreciate that. And I love what you said about the phone. I think that that's some of the things, and guys, I know if you don't want to be reaching out and making phone calls and stuff, but sometimes it's important to have personal interaction with clients. It really means a lot to them. Even just, even if it's just a communication, quick call to try to set up a Zoom call, even something like this, we're all on Zoom and you can immediately get a presence and an understanding of who we are and my personality and Eva's personality and Kara's and Priscilla's and Dan's. And, I think that's really important to have that vision of who that person is. So if we can call or at least communicate in a way to set up a Zoom call with somebody, I honestly think this is one of the best times ever to be a photographer, because up until now, it was just nonstop marketing to try to get an in-person meeting, which is not easy to do, especially with a lot of big time clients like magazines and ad agencies and stuff. But now we have Zoom, and a lot of them are a lot more willing because a lot of people are working remotely. These big people at 72 and Sunny and Shy at Day and Sachi, they're probably not at the office. So they're probably at home, and they're more likely to do a Zoom call than they would to be like, oh yeah, we're going to set aside everything we're doing and just have you come in and do a portfolio review. So all of my creative directors and art buyers can come in and stop everything they're doing to meet you. Well, now you can get on Zoom and it can be a quick, easy, in and out. And you can visually see them. So setting up Zoom calls via phone call would be my suggestion. I think that's absolutely brilliant. I really appreciate that, Eva. That's absolutely fantastic. Now, okay, guys, I want to show you guys, and by the way, please, if you haven't already, answer the polls. Essentially, what's your budget for what do you invest in your marketing to book more clients? What do you invest in your education to develop your portfolio and your branding to book more clients? And essentially, what do you invest each year to do that? And I'm curious to know, because I want to know, and I encourage you guys obviously to invest in yourselves, because you're the most, you're going to be the biggest return on investment is yourself. I personally, I've spent, literally like a massive amount of money on myself, literally hundreds of thousands of dollars between my education, between workshops and seminars, towards my portfolio and all my personal development. And you know what? It was the best ROI, because it was able to yield me millions. And that's what I want you guys to do. If you invest in yourself, the return on investment in yourself is going to be the best return on investment of any investment you can make. So I want you guys to really think about that. Now, here is my step-by-step process for booking clients. And I actually wrote it out for you guys. So essentially, I'm going to have, I want you guys to think about targeting your audience. Target the audience and develop a list of these clients. So it could be something, if it's an ad agency list, I want you guys to develop a, a list of decision makers. So if it's creative directors and art buyers at the ad agencies that represent the clients that you want to shoot for. If it's fashion clients, we got to reach out to the fashion brands. Or if there's agencies that represent that fashion brand. If it's a wedding client, maybe we want to reach out to those high-tier wedding clients that are going to be booking those $10,000 photographers that are going to be doing that. We're going to be then designing collateral. Now, this is important. Your portfolio, your websites, your promo pieces, all of the collateral of your photography that you want to showcase to people, that you want to get them excited about who you are, and what makes you and what makes them excited about you. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, this is an example of collateral. This is one of my great photographers who's on right now, Hans J. Paul. This is one of his promo pieces, and I think this is a beautiful collateral. He shot this between, I think this was at the Newport Beach workshop, this one was Chicago, this was the Elite Masterclass, and this is Newport. Unbelievable content. It has an image on one side, it has a spread of 4 images on the other, it has his contact information, his phone number, email, all that stuff. And Hans created this, and it's an amazing piece of collateral to reach out to decision makers. And by the way, I have a one-on-one business workshop with Hans, where him and I on Friday are going to be going over one-on-one at his home how to maximize his business in 2021. And I'm really excited about it, because I have all kinds of guidance and suggestions and all kinds of stuff that we're going to go over. But it all started with developing that brand and that beautiful photography that he did over the last 5 workshops in a row, from Newport Beach to Chicago to New York, Elite Masterclass in Los Angeles and Miami Beach, to then have the content to be able to put this together. And this is powerful, okay? And that would be a piece of collateral. Also, your amazing website, as well as your print promos, your e-promos, which would be like an email version of that, and then also your printed portfolio and your video reel. Those would all be examples of collateral. So developing that and design the collateral specific to your target audience, okay? That's really, really important. Design it towards the audience that you're going for. Then the next step is going to be SEO. Now, this is something that a lot of photographers also struggle with, is their SEO. I personally am not very good at this. So what I do is I hire teams to do it. I'd be really careful about who you hire, because I've also had bad experiences where they did it incorrectly. You want to make sure it's a white hat SEO. You want to hire the right team. My best luck was actually hiring one of my partners that actually I work with in production. They have an SEO division of their company in New York, and I worked with them, and it definitely helped my SEO. Really SEOing your brand, especially for portrait photographers and consumer photographers, is really big to SEO, especially in your area, so that people always see you come up first. Another is to network yourself with the audience, showcasing your collateral. So we talked about this a little bit before. Now, granted, it's hard to network during COVID, right? Normally we'd go in and try to meet with people at the places where they might be. But right now, because of COVID, what we do is we network online. And I think it's a great opportunity to network in LinkedIn groups, Facebook groups where you're going to interact with decision makers, whether it's art producers, agencies, or if you're going to be in the consumer market, maybe wedding planners, people like that. Really, really important and valuable. So I would recommend networking as much as possible. You've already targeted your audience. You've designed your collateral to showcase to these people. And then you start SEOing yourself, so you've got a brand that they can find, and then you're going to network yourself with that audience, showcasing your collateral. Now is the fun part, the marketing part, okay? I actually personally really like the marketing part, and many of you guys don't, but I'm actually very passionate about it, and it's something I feel like I'm an expert in with sales and marketing for photography. So I'm going to guiding you guys actually on February 27th on an epic marketing for photographers workshop, but it's going to be all about what can we do to reach out to people, because that's a big important part, right? Reaching out to people. So my step 5 is email broadcast, LinkedIn, Facebook reach out, personal email follow-up, print promos, right? So email broadcast, and I'm gonna go in depth of this at the February workshop, but essentially I'm gonna pull back the curtains on how I design a drip campaign through Infusionsoft, where I can send out messages to my database. In my system, I can send out to 150,000 decision makers in total. So I have a pretty big database, and I can reach out to these people, and I can set up email follow-ups and chain follow-ups based upon what the reactions are. So if they open something, they didn't click through, or they clicked through, what link did they click on? It can then set up a series of chains of emails to follow them after that. And of course, the objective is to set up a meeting, set up a Zoom call with them. That's the objective, so that you can talk about the project they have going on, the campaign, the client, whatever, and then to seal the deal. So the emails are really important. LinkedIn is going to be your best friend. I use LinkedIn and Facebook heavily. I love it. I feel like LinkedIn is a very professional network. I highly recommend you guys all use it, especially now during COVID. It could not be more valuable and timely. I also use something called LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which is like the premium edition. So it's costly. You know, I think it's like $75 a month or something, but I've noticed a big opportunity because you can really reach out to a lot more people personally, and you can also do hyper-targeted lists. So I really like using LinkedIn. I also love using Sales Navigator. Facebook is great as well. The reason I like LinkedIn and Facebook also is it's a slightly older demographic, and a lot of your clients might be older. Whereas Instagram is great and valuable, but it tends to be a younger skewed audience. And sometimes you can book jobs, but there's also a lot of nobodies out there that aren't going to pay you much. So you got to be kind of careful with Insta, but I do think Insta obviously is valuable, and to, you know, post on there as much as possible, showcasing what you're up to. I would say it's best for being a networking opportunity. I have booked jobs on there, but it's been more through LinkedIn for the big heavy hitter opportunities. And then of course, personal email follow-up, reaching out to people, and after all this marketing conclusion, I want you to also reach out personally via email and make phone calls, like Eva was saying, to contact those people, speak to them personally. So I think those are really important. Okay, so that's step 5. Step 6 is the phone call. Now, this is the thing that Eva talked about, and this is the thing that a lot of you photographers are scared about, is essentially the phone call, being able to reach out to these people. And don't be afraid. Now, one of the things I do is if I'm calling an advertising agency, like 72 and Sign, always say, like, say we're contacting Sabrina, right? I might say her first and last name, and I act really casual, like I know her. So it's like, I call them up, and they answer, and it's like some, somebody who's like just some person at the front desk. Or obviously now it's COVID, they're probably working remotely, answering phones and then transferring them in, and be like, oh, hey, is Sabrina there? This is Kevin. Hey, can I talk to her? Something simple and quick like that, so you feel really casual. You don't want to say, oh, this is Kevin Michael Schmitz. I'm a photographer. I'm contacting Sabrina to show her my work. They'll immediately put you through to the land of voicemail. Okay, so you answer, oh, hey, is Sabrina there? This is Kevin. I'm trying to reach her about something, a project. You are, because you're trying to book a project with her. So, something like that to casually get through. And then when they transfer you in, to be like, oh, hey, what's going on, Sabrina? This is Kevin Michael Schmitz. I had shared some of my latest work with you that I think correlates really well to your latest Coca-Cola campaign. And I wanted to talk with you about, what you have going on coming up. Do you have any projects coming up where you guys are in need of hiring photographers, or are you hiring video and photography, or just photography? Leave it kind of like an alternate choice question like that. And then now she's thinking, oh, okay, we're doing projects. We're maybe a little slowed because of COVID, but now we're starting to book jobs. I don't have something right now, but something coming up for Coca-Cola in 3 months. Oh, I really like this work. And then boom, you want to send her an email. Great. Is there a time we could set up a time where I could jump on Zoom with you and some of your creative directors to showcase my latest work? That's how you'd want that to go. So guys, don't be afraid of that. You want to make sure you can try to set up and have a personal interaction with the customer. And that's really key. And for consumer clients, even more important. Absolutely critical. If you can set up a Zoom call, that's going to be key, because then you can essentially talk about not just the potential projects, and then maybe even the bids on the projects, the details. I love to go over the budget via Zoom. That way you can look at them right in the eye and ask them those questions. Absolutely key. Okay. Then the next thing is I want to then step 8 is going to be closing the deal with the client, using strategies to get the client to book now and with you. Oftentimes it's a big job. A lot of times they're going to be triple bidding. So you need to find out, okay, are there other projects? Say it's a project that came in. Are there, how many other photographers are bidding on this job? Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it just me? Who's bidding on this job? What's the budget? Find out all these details. If they're really excited about you, generally they might do 2 kind of dummy bids out there just to correlate to, or just to, dance in front of the marketing director of the client to make sure that you're going to get the job. But if they don't know you as well, you might be the dummy bid, so you never know. But you definitely want to position yourself to add as much value as possible, and also to tie them down and knowing, okay, what are they looking for? Do they feel like my work is exactly what the client wants for this opportunity, and talk to them about it. Maybe even design like a creative brief or a proposal. And I do that all the time. Develop proposals for clients and show them something, not just, hey, look at my work. Do you want to book me? I actually show them a detailed proposal of a campaign that I would want to shoot for them. Right? I think that's really important. And that way they get to see the full treatment of what I'm going to do. So for instance, that I had done this campaign for UNice, and it was, like a beauty campaign. And I developed like a 21-page proposal for this. And it has all details about me and my team. And it's like, it has details about the treatment, about the approach, visual references. And this is a commercial kind of thing. But it's for a beauty brand, and then all of it leads down to the actual budget. And these are the products of what we're shooting. It's like a hair campaign, and then here's the budget. And so it includes not just a bid, it's like a 21-page proposal that also has letters of recommendation and client raves from major clients, NYU, Columbia, BBC, and stuff like that. So I want you guys to think about that. Important to showcase that so that you can be, okay, you are the go-to person, and then try to actually close the deal, making sure that you can assumptively get them to go along with you, so you are the go-to photographer that they're gonna book for that campaign. That's what you're looking for. Absolutely critically important. And if it's an advertising job, you want them to sign off on that bid. That's the critical component. That's signing the deal to move forward. If it's a consumer client, it's getting them to confirm and then paying you up front. Definitely take credit cards too, by the way. So some of you consumer client photographers don't take credit cards, you take other forms of payment. I wouldn't recommend that. I think that, you never know with a personal check. I don't really, cash is a little shadier, because then you have to wait for them to come then pay you in cash, maybe on the day of the shoot. PayPal, I don't ever trust, because it doesn't really, there's really easy ways of backing out on PayPal. So I would highly recommend you all get merchant services accounts and all take credit cards. And that way, that if it's a consumer client, you can accept their credit card and you control the billing cycle at that point. I think that's really important to do that. Now, if it's a commercial client, if they're dealing with bigger budgets, obviously you're not going to do credit cards. But what I do is, just like in the UNice campaign, I took 100% of the creative fees, 100% of the production costs up front, and I took 50% of creative and usage fees up front. So at the end of the day, I think it ended up being like $80,000 up front when I signed off on the bid. Had them sign off on the bid, I got $80,000 in my bank account, like within a couple of days, and a wire transfer. And then the remaining balance I had within, I think, 2 weeks of the job. So the remaining like 20 grand or whatever was the last 2 weeks after the job. And that's how I'd recommend it. Because what happens is when you're shooting commercial jobs, I don't know if you guys have done that before, but oftentimes it's like they want to pay you 90 days after the shoot. So I'd recommend, you don't want to bankroll that. You don't want to bankroll a $100,000 job. You want that money up front to produce a shoot. Recommend getting that money up front. And if it's a consumer client, 100% of the time, get the money up front. Don't do the shoot and then allow them to pay you afterwards. Unless it's like you're doing print selections and they're going to select a print package, you want to make sure they pay before you order that as well. So all of that, okay, step 1, target the audience. Step 2, design collateral. Step 3, SEO. Step 4, network yourself. Step 5, email broadcast, LinkedIn, Facebook, reach out, Insta, personal email follow-up. Step 6, phone call to the clients, build rapport, set up a Zoom call. Step 7, Zoom call with or meet the person in person to discover their photographic needs and their budget. 8 is close the deal with the clients and using strategies to get into the client and then book them now. And then 9 is get the payment up front for your photographic services. 10, now we do the photo shoot. But all those steps are what it takes to get to the photo shoot. But yet we're not done. After the photo shoot, and you're going to wow the pants off your customer, and you're going to create the greatest images they'd ever seen before, and you're going to wow and dazzle them and excite them, and you're going to over deliver. And you're going to deliver that content to the client. And I would recommend also try to deliver to the client within a few days if you can. Try to give it to them right away. Try not to like lollygag about it, because you want to keep them happy, keep them excited about what you just shot. Even if it's just giving them the raw files and or selects from JPEGs and not actually doing the retouching yet, so they can make the selections. But showing them something within a very short time period is going to buy you a lot of trust with the client. And once you deliver that content, then use it as an opportunity to upsell the client. If it's a commercial job, I use it as an opportunity to then upsell them and try to convince them to buy more usage on the job. If it's a consumer client, you want them to buy more prints or hire you for another photo shoot. So that is my essentially 12-step process for booking clients and booking more clients and booking the best clients. And that's what I'd recommend each and every one of you guys do time and time again throughout this whole process, is using this process, using this methodology to put yourself in the position to be more successful, to book more clients, and to be able to get to the point where you can, get to select who you get to work with. Now, the great Sean Ashanti, he's talking to us from New York. I'm in LA, Sean's in New York, and Sean is an amazing coach when it comes to photographers and videographers. And he does it all. He's actually, acts as a stunt double. He's doing video production, filming. He's doing photography. He literally does it all. Sean, what is your guidance for our photographers to book more clients? I'd love to hear your perspective.
Wow. So to book more clients, honestly, it's pretty easy. Well, no, it's not. In order to book more clients, the first thing you have to do is, as everybody else has said, is get your mindset right. You got to get your mindset right, but just waking up in the morning and saying, I'm going to be successful is going to do a whole lot for you. It really will. But the next step is putting things into action. What Kevin just said with his steps to, booking more clients as a photographer, keep those in mind. I hope you guys were taking notes, because that was an absolute gold mine right there. But like Kevin said, I do a lot of stuff. I do a lot of stuff, and I'm pretty successful at it. I've been doing lifestyle photography. I've been a filmmaker. I've worked on national commercials for Disney and a bunch of other companies. Yes, I do stunts. I'm a stuntman. I book stunt jobs. Stunts is actually almost more fun, but pays really well. But I couldn't do any of that. If I didn't actively pursue these jobs. So I had to market myself. I had to sell myself. So, just real quick, I know I don't want to keep you guys for a whole bunch of lists, but the thing is, if you really don't know much about marketing yourself, about selling yourself and what that means and how that needs to feel, then I'd really suggest, investing in yourself, and taking the marketing workshop that we have on the 27th. February 27th. It's going to be absolutely amazing, and you're going to have a wealth of information there. But real quick, I'll just give you guys a little bit of, just a little rundown of what I think. And I'm not going to be as in depth as Kevin, because Kevin, I'm not going to keep you all night. If you're serious about what you want to do, which is photography, and you really want to book more clients, then you would have taken down those notes from Kevin. You will, look and say, oh my goodness, this marketing workshop, I'm going to take it because I want to really invest in my future in 2021. Hell, to 2022, 2023. These things, these strategies aren't going to go away. But I'll just tell you right now that what I'd say is, in my opinion, which is very important, and I'll keep this relatively nice and sweet, is, again, Kevin already touched on this, create a picture of your ideal prospect. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to be a lifestyle photographer? Are you trying to be a fashion photographer, real estate photographer? Make lists of these people. And what type of assets do you need? If you're a lifestyle photographer, you want to do lifestyle photography, this is where most of the big money is. You need a lifestyle portfolio. You need that. And you have to look at who does what and what type of imagery you're going to send to them. And then you have to make a list of these people, their companies, and then you actually have to work on your call list, or actually contact list. What ways can I get in contact with these decision makers? Is it calling them? Calling is always a good idea. Emailing maybe not as effective. Finding them on social media. Wow, really? Finding them on social media? Most people are on social media. They might not be posting about photography, but write them, comment on something that they commented on. And that might open the door that you previously didn't have, simply because they'll recognize that tag or recognize your social media handle or your name, especially if you engage with them. So managing your social media presence is super important as well, because they likely have a social media presence. And if you have a social media presence and you manage to engage with them with a social media presence, and they see on your social media presence that you have amazing work, or even if they just like what you have to say, it's a door in. It's a way to get in. It's a way to get your portfolio viewed by those decision makers. Now, another thing, kind of like as Kevin said, and he said, you get on the phone, be casual about it. When you get on it, if you send like an email, try to be a little bit personal about it. If you try somebody that you're trying to talk to specifically, do some research on them, please. Do some research on them. You want to have a personal touch whenever you do your outreach, whenever you do your marketing. I call this earn marketing. This is where you're earning your keep. Okay, so do your research, do your outreach, emails, calls, make yourself a schedule. Get out of bed, tell yourself you're going to be great, and then go be great. Be a know-it-all. So when I say be a know-it-all, when you have your website, your portfolios, Kevin talked briefly about SEO. He's not very good at it, but I can tell you right now that if you actually have your photography website or even your social media posts, if you make some type of little small blog of some kind, that knocks you up on the SEO, mainly because content, honestly, is king. So the way I say, if you want to book more clients, is that you really have to be about your business. Be a know-it-all. Reach out, and be persistent. And don't get comfortable. There's nothing worse than somebody's trying to run a business and is just waiting for the business to come to them. That's pretty much what I have to say. There's more, but
I love it. Thank you, Sean. You're so right. You can't just wait till it comes to you, because it won't. But yeah, and guys, when it comes to Collateral, I think it's really important to do what Sean's talking about with reaching out to people and then also showing them something special. And I'm going to show you a few other examples of Collateral. This is actually one of mine. This is from a few years ago. But this is something that, it's got my work, it's got my agency, it's got work on the back. And what's really cool about this? These images right here, these are actually all shot at our workshops. These were shot at our fashion workshops. This is a one-on-one fashion workshop, and this was our elite masterclass. And I was so proud of it. I used it for my main fashion promo piece. I sent to major fashion designers in New York. It was fantastic. These are some of the other, some of our photographers that have taken our workshops before. They're promo pieces and such. This is David Yees. He did this at one of our LA workshops as well. It was epic. And creating moments and having these promo pieces. This is actually another one of mine. And creating these epic moments and having these promo pieces to send out. These are print promos. these days I would wait on mailing a lot of these because people aren't in the office, but I would have an e-version of this that you can send. And also when people are getting back in your offices, I like these as you hand it to them in person. But definitely having something that's going to represent you and represent your brand, freshening it up all the time is super important too. Not just resting on images from 5 years ago, but creating new content all the time and showcasing that to clients because they want to see something fresh. They want to see something new, something that's going to excite them. So guys, I'm really excited. This has been an absolutely wonderful webinar, and thank you so much for joining me. And I'm really excited. Hopefully we guided you on ways in which we can help you book more clients. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you at some of our physical workshops, the Marketing for Photographers workshop on February 27th. If you enroll in the link provided in the chat, you can actually enroll now at $300 discount off of it, and 100% of it goes towards any 4-day workshop. So it's kind of a no-brainer because it's basically free. And I look forward to seeing each and every one of you guys. Also, make sure to jump on one of our one-on-one consults with one of our photographic consultants if you haven't set that up yet, and we can help guide you. And it's just a free consult, go over your business strategies, book more clients. Can't wait to work with you guys, and I hope each and every one of you becomes the most successful version of yourself. Take care, guys, and have an amazing, amazing photographic journey.